was a very long and severe blackout, and we are lucky that it ended out as positively as it did. On this particular dive, we had found a spring in North Florida that had a very deep underwater cavern. And for a while, we had been trying to reach the back wall of the cavern with no success. And finally, on this particular dive, one of my buddies actually does manage to reach the back wall, but on the way back out, he blacks out while he's still inside. So at this point, I was his primary safety. I had waited about a minute and a half into his dive to swim down and just look into the entrance of the cave. And I see him just barely breach over the last little ledge and then black out right there, about 15 feet from the entrance of the cave. And I'll be honest, it took me a while to actually process what was going on. At this point in time, I had never seen a blackout before. And I remember looking at my dive buddy after he blew his bubbles and completely went limp, thinking, that's weird. That's kind of like what my freedive instructor told me a blackout would look like. And shortly after that thought went through my mind, it actually clicked. Oh my gosh, this is a blackout. And at that moment, all the panic came. So now I'm freaking out. I'm swimming to my dive buddy as fast as I can. And the only thing I can think about in my head is I hear my dive instructor's voice saying, protect the airway, protect the airway, protect the airway. So when I do finally reach my buddy, I grab him by the face, I cover his mouth, I pinch his nose, and I start swimming us straight up towards the surface, the same way I had done in the pool in my level 1 course. The problem was we were inside the cavern still. So instead of swimming to the surface, I end up bashing both his head and my head against the ceiling. And that causes me to freak out and panic even more. So when I do finally get us out of the cave and we're at the surface, everything that I've learned about freediving safety is tossed out the window. I'm way too freaked out to think about any of that. The only thing I can think to do at this moment in time is to, while I'm still holding my dive buddy by his head, is to shake him back and forth and yell, breathe. And when that doesn't work, I shake him harder and I yell louder. And I keep doing this over and over and over again with no benefit. He's still blacked out. And finally, I end up finding myself in shallow water where I can stand. And when I get to a point where I can actually stand, I actually let go of my dive buddy's head and lay him down in my arms, almost like I'm cradling a baby. And a couple of seconds after I did that, he takes a couple of breaths, opens his eyes, and wakes up. And luckily, he was totally fine after all of this went down. It was very scary for us. It was about 55 seconds from blackout to him actually waking up. And this particular dive changed the course of my freediving career. It really woke me up to the idea that not only can blackouts occur to myself and my dive buddies when previously we had thought we're really just not good enough divers for us to have to worry about that. But two, it highlighted the importance of understanding how to deal with these things, because clearly we did not deal with this blackout the way we should have.